Hello and welcome to another fantastic interview that we are having for Succeed with Dyslexia. Now, my name is Darren Clark and I'm the Managing Director of Succeed with Dyslexia. And what we do is we have incredible guests across the globe, all sharing their stories from educators, from teachers, from parents, and people to kind of give us a real good knowledge of how dyslexia is perceived in their country and the incredible things that they're doing. So we have another fantastic guest today, all the way from Malaysia. And absolutely delighted to have you. Good morning and welcome. Would you mind telling our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself and ultimately introduce yourself? That would be great. Thank you.
Good morning, Darren, and thank you very much for this opportunity to be talking to you and those listening later on. I am from Sabah, Malaysia, East Malaysia. Now, I must say that I'm not a trained teacher. I have been always working in the accounting and auditing field. And I was scheduled into teaching a kid in my neighborhood who had gone to kindergarten for a year and primary one for a year and was unable to read even a single sentence in English. His father brought him to me and I decided to teach him. But after 3 days of teaching the kid, I told the father, this is what I told him. Sorry, Mr. Ho, I don't think your son is teachable. Only then did the father tell me that his son is dyslexic. And when I asked him what is dyslexia all about, he was not able to answer. I then went into the internet, checked on what is dyslexia, and said, whatever is in the dyslexia on the internet doesn't seem to apply to this particular student whom I was teaching. Yeah. He was a very smart kid, and I just couldn't understand why he was unable to read. So that intrigued me, and since that time in 2004, I have now taught more than 70 such kids.
Wow.
And I've learned why they were unable to read directly from that. Whatever I'm going to talk about why they were unable to read in English is not in the internet. This is basically from them, not from some researchers.
Yeah.
So if we can go into that, there are three main reasons why almost all the 70 kids had the same kind of answer. I observed them, I interviewed them, and whatever I'm going to say is from them. They were unable. The main reason why many kids here, as well as around the world, are unable to read in English is because teachers are teaching the sounds of the letters or sounds represented by letters with extraneous sounds. Now, what do we mean by extraneous sounds? They add something like vowel sounds after the consonants. For example, the letter C is taught as K, D, D, F, F, M, M. These are all with extraneous sounds. And this appears to confuse not only the kids here, but kids around the world. Now, this in particular, I got it from my second student, whom I started teaching her the word OX and said, this is ox. No problem. She said ox. She was happy to say it. Then I said, I put an F in front and said, this is fox. She just looked at me, stared at me. She refused to say. I said, say fox. She just didn't want to say. And she moved back in a chair, Fortunately for me, the mother came at that time and she went off. And the next 2 days, I was just wondering, thinking about it all the time. Why is it that such an obedient girl refused to say the word fox? Very simple, just say F-O-X, fox. When she came back 2 days later, I asked her, I do not know what made me ask, but I asked her, what are the sounds represented by the letters? Okay, she didn't understand what I mean. Like, for example, A is A, apple. How about B, B, C, K? And she was getting more and more excited as we went on. F, M, M. Who told you this? My tuition teacher taught me this. So I got the hold of the tuition teacher's telephone number and rang the tuition teacher up. And the tuition teacher said exactly the same thing. Only then did it make sense to me. Only then did it dawn on me that this girl refused to say the word fox because to her the letter F is sounded as fur. Yeah. If F is fur and OX is ox, and you put them together, to her, it must be fur ox. There is no way it can be fox. So she has been going to kindergarten for 2.5 years. She came to me when she was in primary 1. Now, same thing was happening with many of my other students. For example, because they were not taught the letters sounds correctly, they are unable to blend. Yeah. And when they are unable to blend, they just shut down or disengage from learning. Now, we all say that dyslexic students are about 20% around the world, 10 to 20%. But I believe that a majority, more than that, more than 20%, just do not understand how to blend. Yeah. But as time goes on, they somehow figure out through patterns and analogies how to blend, and they begin to read at around grade 4, grade 5, some even in grade 6. Now, another reason why these kids are unable to read is teachers do not tell them that the letters in the English language represent more than one sound.
Good point.
We teach them A as in apple. Kids have no problem. They say A as in apple. And then we say, like for example, when I teach them family words, AT, at. Then I say bat, cat, fat, mat, sat, rat. They learn it very fast. And then I show them what is bat, at, no extraneous sounds, at, not for atter, but at, and they learn very fast. But the moment I start teaching them a cat, I've seen many of the students staring at me. And I was wondering, hey, how come that kid stared? Now, same thing is happening now. And then it dawned on me that now I'm teaching the sound of A that represents a different sound. I had said A in cat as in apple. Now I'm saying a cat. Now, teachers do not tell these students that all the vowels represent more than 3 sounds. So, when you have not told them that A represents more than 1 sound, they have learned the word apple. But what happens when you tell them agree? Now the sound is different. The A is different.
So how does because I'm fascinated by, you're absolutely right. The letter, the letter A in the sense of how it sounded isn't just for apple. There's so many different abbreviations of doing this. When does it get to that stage then? Because you mentioned about the blending side of it. And as we kind of go on through our educational journey and kind of our adult stage, we do pick up these words and start blending. How does that formulate then? The blending side of it?
Oh, the blending side, as I said earlier on, for a majority of the kids, thank God, thank goodness, for a majority of the kids, they somehow rather figure it out. Not blending in our sense, they figure it out by patterns and analogies.
Yeah.
This will take we can discuss this another time, patterns and analogies. But about 20% of the kids just disengage from learning. These are the kids who have been a majority of these kids are wrongly classified as dyslexic. They have no problem reading because all these children, the 70 of them who came to me, have done very well. My first student who couldn't read even a single sentence in 2021, last year, in September the 30th, he graduated from the University of Southern Australia and made with 2 degrees.
That's incredible.
And there are many such students. Now, A itself, like I said just now, has got 5 different sounds. A as in apple, and then A as in agree, A as in able, see, now is A, able, about, allow, and then you have A as in arm, another sound, R. Of course, teachers will say, this is, what do you call it, R control. But what does a kindergarten kid or primary 1 kid know about R control? All he knows is this is a different sound. This is not what my teacher taught me. And they shut down, they disengage. And then we have A as in all, A as in all. So A itself has got at least 5 different sounds. These are the sounds I picked up from the dictionary. So and then similarly with all other vowels. Now, not only that, even the consonants have different sounds. I'm sure you know. C, for example, you say C as in cat, which has got the K sound, right?
Yeah.
And then we say C as in city. You have to tell the kid, look, C has got represent more than one sound. G, and then you go and say G as in goat. And then you say G as in giraffe. And then you say G as in giant. They're completely different sounds. Yeah. You got a question there for me?
I'm just, again, massively intrigued to hear kind of, your thoughts around this, and it highlights exactly, the English language is complicated enough. When you have the letters meaning so many different abbreviations and different words as well. But when you mentioned about people are being wrongly kind of diagnosed with dyslexia, what is dyslexia like in Malaysia? Is it very sort of well known about? Is there what's the structure like within in Malaysia with regards to dyslexia awareness?
It's exactly the same as UK, the US, Australia, all over the world, because the Dyslexia Association, British Dyslexia Association, is the head of almost all the dyslexia associations around the world. They are the ones who are promoting this idea. I believe there may be about 1 to 2% who fall into the category as described in the internet, in the Dyslexia Association's internet. Right? Definitely not 20%. Definitely not more than 2%. In fact, many researchers have already said that it's only about 1%, in fact, a fraction of 1% whom they are not able to teach.
Okay.
Many other researchers have said there are, for example, David Kilpatrick had said in his book that in Florida, there was a research done where all students who came for intervention were able to be brought to grade level and maintain at grade level after a short period of intervention. We have to ask, how was this possible? Why did the kids in the first case fall into the category of being unable to read?
Yep.
How come with just a short period of intervention? Not me, I'm doing the same thing with all my students, and I've now started teaching overseas as well. I've taught parents around many countries to be able to teach their children after a few discussion in my lessons. I have some lessons in my blog. So, when I first went into the internet in 2004 to find out about dyslexia, all over the internet, they were saying dyslexic students cannot read because of phonological awareness deficit. Darren, what does this exactly mean? Children cannot read because of phonological awareness deficit all over the internet. To me, that means they cannot hear the different sounds of the phonological awareness. They are not aware of the different sounds. Now, my question then, and I had written in many websites, commented here, commented there. I wrote many articles on it. I said, if a kid has got phonological awareness deficit, And if that is the reason why he cannot read in English, how is he then able to read in Malay and in Hani Pinyin? Hani Pinyin is Romanized Mandarin,
Okay.
which uses the same letters as the English language. So if you have phonological awareness deficit, how are you able to read in these languages? I've asked this question all over the place. And then in 2011, I started writing this in 2010. I started teaching in 2004. I started my blog in 2010 because I said, look, a lot of the things don't seem to fall in line.
Yep.
And many students, I think this master student came and looked at the blog, and I think they had produced some research reports, and that theory was debunked between 2015 and 2017. I don't have the research reports, but I know that theory was debunked.
Wow. And you feel that this way of, with regards to the sounding and the phonics, supports that in the sense of really kind of helps the students be able to understand the language a lot better.
To be able to read.
Yes.
We're only talking about decoding.
Yes, yeah.
So if you teach them the correct way, look, I mean, it's very simple. You are teaching them. If I teach you Tamil today, my language, and then tomorrow I question you in Mandarin, would you be able to answer?
No.
I've taught you Tamil, you can speak Tamil, but then I question you in Mandarin. Now, similarly, you're teaching the kids fa, a, ta, and asking them to blend fa, a, ta to form fat.
Yeah.
How can they do it? But thank God, like I said, most kids are able to do it because they figure it out.
Do they figure it out by recognition of certain words? So as we grow, our vocabulary expands. So we hear certain words, and then we go, oh, okay, and then it just gradually our vocabulary, builds up and up and up of these certain words. Do you think that's how we connect and learn that blending side of it?
Okay. Now we are talking about phonics now, right? Yeah. Now, how did you, who learn, I believe, I may be wrong, who learn through whole language, read? This is what the kids are doing now. We are saying that they are learning through phonics, but are they learning through phonics? I don't know.
I mean,
most of them are not.
Yeah,
they're learning through something like whole language, where, for example, after the mind is very powerful. Darren, mind is very powerful.
indeed.
It is able to associate things. For example, if you teach bad, cat, fat, for example, right? The child just looks at the word. Of course, you're teaching ba-ata. He doesn't know why ba-ata is bad, but he sees the word B-A-T, bad, and then C-A-T, cat. And then later on, you tell them B-A-T-C-H, batch. The moment you say B-A-T-C-H is batch, and then you went to go C-A-T-C-H,
yep,
he automatically knows it's catch. P-A-T-C-H, you will know it's patch by association, by analysis, by patterns. Now, these are certain patterns. And that is how they start reading. Because I can send you videos of two students, university students in Australia, which I took in 2019. I asked them to give me the sounds of the alphabets, and all the alphabets with extraneous sounds. And then I give them what is called as nonsense words.
Okay.
Do you understand what's nonsense? Okay. Nonsense word I picked up from Dr. Kilpatrick's book. These are words that are not real words. They were able to read it. Down the line, no problem. I can give you the list of the nonsense word. You can, in fact, look at the video if I send it to you. Now, how were these two students, just like many other people, right, able to read? They got all the sounds wrong, yet they were able to read because later on in the class, I mean, after thinking, they have worked out. The mind is very, very powerful. It can work out all these things.
Yeah.
It can analyze whatever is going on. And they are university students.
Yep.
And they are good students. If you go about in your country, in England, if you go to any school, go to a guy who can read very well, ask him the sounds of the letters. I'm sure he's going to sound them out with extraneous sounds.
Yep.
Yet he will be able to read nonsense words. Now, these are the kids who belong to the majority. How about that? I'm talking only about the 20% or so kids who just give up, who disengage. These are the students who come to me.
Yeah.
And I get them to read.
So what would you, going forward, what would you like kind of the educational board, I guess, to kind of introduce that when we're teaching children? Would it be more of kind of the way that you're, with the more kind of ways of teaching that you do? Would that be more sufficient within the educational system, do you feel?
I think the top people all know that this is the way to do it. It's the teachers down the line who are not following this. This is teaching them without, I cannot say that either, because there are many professors, PhDs, who have questioned me. Now, show me proof. This is from PhDs, okay? Show me proof that consonants should not be taught with extraneous sounds. How do I show you proof? Where do I go for the research reports? Just like I was asked for the research reports on phonological awareness deficit. I am the first one to bring it up. Research reports came much later. Now, if you ask me for research reports on why consonants should not be taught with extraneous sounds, where do I go for them?
Yeah.
So basically, this is all the teachers have to do. If the teachers teach the children the correct sounds of the represented by the letters, they will be able to do. Of course, when I write like this on Twitter, many PhDs have come and said, look, this is not the only important thing. We need comprehension, we need vocabulary, we need fluency.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't need them, yes, but this is the first step. If you don't take this first step, all this is not important anymore. You haven't taken, now, for example, I'm sure you have heard this Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Yes.
All right. But the journey of the 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And I'm asking you to go west. You take the first step and turn east. What happens? You've gone east now. You're supposed to go west, and you take 5 steps, you will be reaching the place. Now you have taken east. You have to go thousands of miles before you can make the whole roundabout and come there.
It's truly fascinating, and I know we've spoken many times about lots of different things that you're doing in your country and helping so many people, and I'm not just in your country, on a global scale as well. So we're coming to the end of our time now, but we will definitely be back kind of visiting yourself, if that's okay, because we feel you share so much more. If people wanted to get in touch with yourself, or read some of the articles that you've written, we will put all your details on our links anyway. But how can people access get in contact with yourself?
Well, I have my dyslexia blog, will be the easiest. Dyslexiafriend.com.
Fantastic, and we will put all of the links on there so people can get in touch with you. Thank you so much for taking.
Thank you.
Your busy day.
Privilege. This is a great opportunity to be talking to you.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Have an incredible rest of the day. And thank you so much again for your time. And best of luck with everything that you're doing to help so many students as well. Thank you very much. And we'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video as much as we did putting it together. Now, we have some more fantastic content for you. Please feel free to click this link here and learn more about Shaheem. Shaheem is a dyslexic individual who attends the King's College of London, and he'll speak about some of his experiences there. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.